Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my new favorite knife sharpeners. We're going to put an edge on this blade. We're talking about the WorkSharp Precision Adjust Sharpener. What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things. Today we're talking about knife sharpening. This is probably one of my all-time favorite kits out there. Really budget friendly, right in the middle of the road as far as like super professional knife sharpeners go, and then just like little handheld deals. The reason I haven't reviewed this yet is because it is typically out of stock, but right now as I'm filming this video they are in stock, starting from $49.99, and then they go up to more of the elite kits like this one that I'm showing you today for about $119. Now typically I don't like top-down videos, but when it comes to knife sharpening, that's going to be the best way to do it. So let's head over to the workbench and show you guys how this thing works. Alright guys, here we go. This is the WorkSharp Sharpener's Precision Adjust Kit. This happens to be the elite version, so it comes with a nice little carrying case for all of the stones and everything. If you opt for the regular version, which is just $49.95 I believe on Amazon right now, you don't get as many stones and sharpening grits, but I prefer this case because it gives you just a little bit more and you can put a finer edge on your blade. So you have some instructions here on how to use it. I'm just going to explain to you guys how I use it. So here we have a bunch of different grits, which we'll get into in a second, and then here's the actual sharpener itself. You have a base, you have the adjustment part, and then you have the jaws that will hold your knife in place. So to set this thing up, it is very simple. You put the base down, clip that into place, and then the actual jaws that hold your knife, they are magnetic, so they just snap into place like that. One thing that you're going to see me using throughout this video is this little push button on the back. If you push your thumb into that, you can flip these jaws around and sharpen both sides of the knife very, very easily. Today I'm going to be putting an edge on the Travax Trek. This is the knife that I keep in my van. Great little camp knife. I use it for food prep mainly. And as you can see, maybe, the edge on this thing is super, super thin. So let's sharpen this thing up and see how sharp we can make it. Now when it comes to sharpening knives, depending on what sharpening system you're using, I typically like to grab a Sharpie and actually mark this edge of the blade. Excuse me as I work around the camera here, this is a little bit difficult. Literally just run the Sharpie down the blade like that so the actual cutting edge is all black. Because this edge is so thin, I'm actually going to probably take off more material than I typically would. Now I'll pop these jaws out and hopefully give you guys a better look at these. It gets fairly wide. I've actually sharpened my own custom knife in here, which as you guys probably know is a 1/4 inch thick. It was like just on the cusp of fitting, but this Travax Trek is pretty thin, so it'll be nice and easy. The jaws have some rubber on the inside, so I'm just gonna line this up with sort of the top of the blade there right onto the flat, and then tighten this up just like that. That thing is super solid in there, and because of the rubber it's not going to be marring up your blade at all. Now this just goes boop, right in there like that, nice and solid. I really like the use of magnets for that. Now when it comes to the actual sharpening, we've got a few different choices to pick from here. We can start at 220, these actually rotate, so then we can go up to 320, and then on this one it goes up to 400. They have this little like ball joint on here, and this piece of metal actually goes right up inside the stand. And then there's a magnet up top here, so you just slip that in, and then that magnet locks that into place. Now typically on the high-end professional sharpeners that I have, I want to basically make a nice long path from the back of the blade all the way out to the tip. You can also do it in segments though, because we have this pretty pronounced belly here. It's kind of short. I'm gonna start on 400 and just sort of work this back and forth. Now I'm noticing that I'm not actually hitting that Sharpie edge on here, so what I'm gonna do is adjust the angle of this. To adjust the angle, you can go from 30 all the way down to 15, probably even a little bit higher and lower. Probably gonna sharpen this at about a 20-degree angle. So I'm gonna twist this down. That will change the angle. Now let's try this again. Now that is a pretty good angle. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've gotten rid of most of that Sharpie. There's still a little bit on the tip there, so I will work on that. And now that I know that my angle is set, I can actually sharpen this thing the way that I normally would. I should note that I'm really not pushing down on this at all. I'm not really using much pressure. I'm just pinching the top here and then working the edge of the blade just to make a little bit of a burr. Now that I've got a decent burr on there, push the button in the back and spin this thing around. Now I can work on the other side. Now I'm noticing that this 400 grit is still pretty rough because I typically don't sharpen down this gritty. So the more you use these stones, the more they will break in and the better they will get over time. So right now, this is a little bit rough, but we'll make it work. Really want to work on that tip, make sure everything is nice and even all the way through that belly. And now I can alternate sides. Doing about 10 passes right now. And that should be plenty for the 400 grit. Now I'm going to move right up to 600 grit, snap that into place, make sure we are on 600. I'm going to flip this again and continue. You really want to make sure you get towards the back of the blade as well. I'm widening the edge just a little bit and it's already looking a heck of a lot better. Now if I rotate this, we can move right up to 800. Can already tell that edge is shining through now. Definitely hard to tell on video, but I'll give you guys a close-up once we're done. Now also on this same stone we have ceramic. Flip this and we're going to start to work almost a mirror edge on here. The higher in grits you go, the more you will notice that the stones start to just glide across there. It's a good indication that you are sharpening the way you should be. And again, I'm doing like little to no effort. I'm basically just sliding this thing up and down and side to side. That is feeling very nice as of now. Now, last but not least, we have a singular strop. It also has a little bit of a ceramic top on there if you want to do serrations or anything like that. It has this green compound in it, so we should be able to get pretty close to like a mirror finish with this. Now with this strop, since it's leather, you really don't want to be pushing it back into the blade, so all of these will be down strokes like this. And we're basically just smoothing out any lasting burr that's on there and sort of polishing up that edge. So now that we've got a pretty good edge on there, we're just going to pop this out. Could inspect it a little bit closer here and put a finer edge on it, but for video purposes, again, really hard to tell on camera, but that edge is looking much nicer than it was before. Got some really thin construction papers here. I mean, pretty much razor sharp. For an EDC knife, I don't really need my knives to be any sharper than that. So, there you have it. So, there you guys have it. Nice, sharp blade in just a matter of minutes. Actually, almost shaving sharp. It's popping a few hairs there. I think this kit is going to be great for anyone like myself who's just a knife enthusiast and you want to have a decent edge on your blade, but you don't need like a $800 professional sharpening system. I have something like that, and now that I have this, I don't even really use it. Puts a great edge on there. If you're not doing it in front of a camera with a bunch of stuff in your way, you can fine tune them even more and get these knives insanely sharp. So if you have any questions on it, let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to answer anything as best as possible. I'll also leave some links in the description where you can pick one of these up on Amazon right now, starting at $49 all the way up to, I believe, $119, which is for the full Elite kit, which you just saw me use. So that's all for today. If you're new here, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week. As always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.